What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I know it seems like every news story right now on the internet, on YouTube, on any platform right now is talking still about the travesty of what happened to Charlie Kirk. I can assure you, very soon we will be getting back to regular political stories. But this is an important story because it's not just the loss of a public figure. This is a politically driven tragedy that focuses around our entire ecosystem, our entire culture as we know it, with this us versus them mentality. You'll have to forgive me. I get a little tongue tied when talking about this. I've said it before. I said it on yesterday's live stream. Even yesterday's video. When the loss of a public figure occurs, whether it's, and to talk about recent ones, Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, it's tragic to hear of their passings. It's sad to realize that, hey, we're never going to hear them sing again. We're never going to watch Hulk Hogan say, "Let me tell you something, brother." I know it's a terrible impression, but we're never going to see it again. That part of the nostalgic phase of your life is over. And theirs has moved on. Definitely you feel bad for the families. But, while you take a few minutes to think about what happened, it's different with Charlie Kirk. I have never been this affected and had my heart weigh as heavy as it did when the loss of Charlie Kirk was announced. And the reason for it is because it's not just another public figure. This is somebody who was slain over political views, over a major problem right now when it comes to the ever so loving left, right? And how they behave in public. I'm sorry for the pauses. I'm trying to think of how to say this. We already had a video pulled yesterday. I gotta watch how we talk about the tolerant left. But let's take a look here, because we have a lot to discuss today, including an update on the person in Canada who threatened Danielle Smith. You're going to want to wait and see that. If you don't know about premiers, if you're watching from the United States, Premier Danielle Smith of Alberta, essentially, it's kind of like governors in the United States. She's in charge of the province and then reports to the federal government. So you have every premier in every province, and then you have the federal government who control the country, kind of like the White House versus, you'll understand. Let's shoot straight into it. I want to show here Benny Johnson sitting down with Chris Cuomo because he fired back, and this was good to see. People are outraged. People are mad. There's people that we've shown videos. Everybody's seen videos now of those celebrating over the death of Charlie Kirk. In fact, Joe Rogan had an announcement on his podcast when him and Charlie Sheen were sitting down, a very powerful video, where they talked about, people are going to, Joe called it, there's going to be people celebrating about this. And that's what we're seeing here. I'm going to skip the quotes in the tweet because there's no point in me repeating it. Let's just take a look at what unfolded. And good for Benny for standing up. As you watch Chris Cuomo, again, CNN enthusiast, backpedal what he's saying because he knows he has no arguing point here. He's arguing for the sake of virtue signaling and posturing, but it's going to get him nowhere. Let's take a look.
I don't really care how we got here so much. There is a lot of blame to go around. I do not see you guys as victims. You give as good as you get. There is a lot of anger. There is a lot of exaggeration. It is all hate for profit on the fringe of this battling binary political system. My question is now what?
Charlie Kirk has never advocated. Charlie Kirk has never advocated violence ever. Charlie Kirk was only
I'm not saying he did.
a nonviolent, peaceful debater. He went into places where he knew he was hated in order to engage.
I agree.
Kindly and humanly
that
with people.
he was not about violence.
For you to say that it's the same thing.
Oh, hold on.
It's not, Chris.
Hold on. I'm not talking about it with Charlie. Benny, don't play games with me. I'm giving you latitude because you deserve it, because this was your friend, and this is scary, and it hurts, and it could have just as easily been you.
The dehumanization is wrong. It's wrong. And
There's no question. But Benny,
you'll never be able to chew me out, Chris, because I'll never dehumanize.
Benny,
if I hear that Joe Biden gets a terminal cancer diagnosis, I'll say a prayer for him. I'll say that I hope he lives the rest of his days painless. That's exactly what I said. And every person that I know and respect, and I know them all in my ecosystem, said the same thing. Not a single one of us celebrated. Not a single one of us celebrated Joe Biden's terminal cancer diagnosis. Now, I can show you a endless series of TikToks and celebration posts and T-shirts made celebrating this travesty. There is a fundamental difference of those who glorify death on the left, and it is demonic, it's sick, and it's dark, and it needs to be.
All right, but
it needs to be disavowed.
I hear you.
So good on Benny Johnson. You could see the anger in his face as it started, because you know what Chris Cuomo is going to bring to the table. And you can see Chris trying to constantly try to put out the flames of the fire he's stoked here. As Benny Johnson sits there saying, you better back up 10 feet, pal. I love how Chris says, don't play games with me. This is the problem we've seen with the media. And again, in the video we had to pull, I talked about the New York Times, and even in Canada, outlets like the government shill prostitute paid army of the CBC and the government's extension of propaganda that come out to say conservative, alt-right speaker Charlie Kirk. Everybody's saying, well, he did incite, a little bit of hatred in people. He wasn't always, liked by people. They always have to throw that in there to make sure that their ever protected talking points are protected. I know I'm stumbling over words here, but President Trump spoke out. And this is where I'm saying the lid's been blown off, folks. Like, there's people out in the streets, there's videos going around of somebody went through the campus on Utah on a scooter and yelled F Charlie Kirk, and there's video showing almost like a swarm of bees, almost like of humans, flocking to this person and just beating the snot out of them on camera. And I can't show that on here. The censors don't like it, which, by the way, folks, if you're enjoying this, please share this out on your socials. Please like and comment. Subscribe if you haven't. I mean, that's always helpful. But it does get us past those YouTube censors that say, hey, don't let this stuff get out, especially when we talk about our next video clip here. President Trump coming out. He's promising swift action to what's happened. He hasn't exactly said what he's going to do, but the way he says it, now this is a businessman. This is a man of action. When he says he's going to do something, he does something. Let's take a listen to what Trump had to say.
Are you concerned for your own safety?
Not really. I'm really concerned for our country. We have a great country. We have a radical left group of lunatics out there, just absolute lunatics, and we're going to get that problem solved. I'm only concerned for the country. Yeah.
We have I'm going to quote it exactly. We have a radical left group of lunatics out there, just absolute lunatics, and we're going to get that problem solved. This is one of the points that I brought up again in the infamous pulled video that when we talk about internet censorship, when we talk about in Canada where they're trying to get this new Internet Safety Act going on, the Online Harms Act, to try and censor what people can say online. And many people, as we go through what happened with Charlie Kirk, would say, hey, we don't want the hate stuff online. We don't want people shooting videos celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk or the death of anybody for that matter. These sick, woke idiots need to be kicked off the internet. The problem when it comes to the Online Harms Act is that the government, especially in Canada, I don't know again about the United States, but in Canada, the government is trying to attach it to our children so that they have an excuse to say, hey, don't you want to protect your kids? Don't you want to make sure that horrible, hateful things can't be said to your kids online? We just want to think of the children, right? The problem with an Online Harms Act is that you're restricting free speech. And before you get mad and think that I'm defending the behavior of these lunatics, please stay with me on this. The problem when you bring in an Online Harms Act is it's actually to protect the government. It's to protect those in power from being criticized. It's the same reason that there was outrage sparked in Nepal with riots and people killed in the streets because they shut down Facebook, they shut down Twitter, they shut down YouTube, they shut down everybody's social media, their access, their ability to access news, to speak their minds. Charlie Kirk, while very tragically lost his life, was a public figure. So what I'm getting at, and I know I'm taking a long time to explain it, but I'm explaining it in a way that people will understand where I'm coming from. If you say we're going to protect people like Charlie Kirk from not getting people filming videos about celebrating his death, we're going to make that illegal, you go to jail. It's no different than the laws they have in the UK right now, because if a public figure like Charlie Kirk is protected, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Mark Carney's protected. Justin Trudeau's protected. They're all public figures. You can no longer criticize your government. You can no longer criticize people in power. It's a very slippery slope, because how do you protect one group of people while saying, well, because you're public figures, it's okay? Again, that would just put more of this hate online. I don't disagree that something needs to be done. The problem is that the people in control of making censorship laws are the government that really just want us to stop talking about them. So I'm more confused as to that would happen. But the hate is spewing out, folks, and we can see that Seattle Central College. You can see down here, instantly, this is appearing on their walls. We had this teacher in Victoria, BC. By the way, she's been fired. And there is a benefit, a silver lining to this, folks. You know, while all this tragedy is going on, some good things are happening. Because cancel culture is getting a dose of reality. They're getting a bit of what they pushed against. All the times they wanted to cancel you for being phobic, for being an ism. A website has been created to now publicly shame these people and put them on display with their information so that employers know who's working for them. So they can get a taste of reality that if they're going to behave this way online, those who are responsible to make sure that they get a paycheck, to know their online media presence, have awareness as to what they're saying online. Take a look at this disgusting video. Devin Cassidy, a social worker who's funded by an NGO, Legal Aid, meaning if you can't afford a lawyer, they provide you with the dumbest one possible. She's proof in the pudding. From Victoria, BC, who we covered after celebrating Trump's assassination attempt, so she glorified that one, is over the moon about Charlie Kirk being killed and calls for more. She's currently employed with Legal Aid BC. No longer, she was fired. Let's take a look just for context. Again, it's gross. I'm sorry for these 14 seconds. Let's take a look.
Charlie Kirk got shot and he's dead! Finally, somebody with a gun, which is almost everybody in the fucking States, grew a pair and fucking went and shot somebody on the right side. Thank you. Can we keep this up, please?
So, this nut job, this real piece of work, I tweeted out earlier today, she doesn't speak for Canadians. She's just like the rest of the wackos in the United States. Well, they've been added to this page. Let's get this open for you guys so you can take a look here. Maybe we get it. Is this better? Would it be better like it's better like this? My apologies, folks. Charlie Kirk was murdered. Is an employee or a student of yours supporting political violence online? Look them up on this website. Say no to political violence. Send information on anyone celebrating Charlie's death. Email us at expose@charliesmurders.com. That's the name of the website here, expose@charliesmurders.com. We have received thousands of submissions. All of them will be reviewed and uploaded shortly. This is a permanent archive and will soon contain a search feature. Keep sending in tips. Make a submission. Well, down here, the top contributor, Canada's own Rachel Gilmore. We covered her in yesterday's video. She had to leave X and go over to Blue Sky, where she absolutely played her victim card and said, I'm being targeted. Oh, poor me. I've got a target on my back because an MP in Canada, one of the members of the House of Commons, posted that, man, evil really sits within inside her. And that apparently puts a target on her back because they were appalled that this is somebody who used to work for Global TV in Canada. She also had a contract with CTV before the federal election to fact check what was going through. Now she's playing the victim card because this is the kind of toxic behavior she had all through the pandemic, all over the trucker convoy. First name on here. You've got numerous accounts being shown all over this page, what was shown, what they said, what they're posting, where they work, if it's done. Here, this person works at a certain business. Again, for privacy reasons, I can't show everything and focus on it because we'll get slapped with things on here. But here's the site again, folks, expose@charliesmurders.com. If you really want to see what disgusting people look like, you can head over there. What's even greater, and I think this is fabulous, Marco Rubio, State Department will ban any foreigner from entering the country who celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk online. Deputy Secretary of State Chris Lando confirms. This is amazing, and it's awesome, and I applaud it. I think absolutely you shouldn't let those heathens into your country. Anybody who has those kind of views should be stricken from anything. So people like Rachel Gilmore, well, they're no longer taking trips to Las Vegas. Not like anybody is. I've heard they're in trouble. But a lot of people who vacation in Florida over the winter, yeah, they're not going to be going there anymore. They're going to be denied. Rightfully so. How does cancel culture like being canceled? This is, you reap what you sow. You know, you try to cancel anybody who says, I don't play dress up, I'm not in for your little games. I can't say other things because, again, the video will get flagged and pulled down again. I really don't want that to happen to you guys. But one group that's going to have it happen in Canada controls this publication, Cult Montreal. Now, to everybody watching this, it's just going to seem like a regular old post. Charlie Kirk said school unalivings were worth it. He labeled trans people as violent fanatics. He trafficked in conspiracy theories. He made a fortune off hateful rhetoric. He's not worth crying over, and Trump will use his death to further the destruction of the U.S. democracy. You want to know what's funny about all this? This publication that went on to say Charlie Kirk died as he lived, propagating hateful myths about marginalized groups in our society. He was a profiteer and architect of America's increasingly violent culture war. You reap what you sow. To hell with Charlie Kirk. Well, the reason I'm showing this disgusting lingo, because none other than wife of the leader of the opposition, Anna Polyev, came out with this lovely factoid. I would like to think that Canadian Heritage and Minister Stephen Guilbeault will want to review the grants they provide to Cult Montreal. Unless, of course, this is the sort of behavior in which they say revealing in political assassination is something they condone and want to continue to fund. Yes, they've received multiple grants from the Liberal government that are in charge in the country. The Liberals fund to the tune of thousands of dollars this publication to spew this kind of hatred online. This is why I said yesterday when Mark Carney hadn't said a word about what happened to Charlie Kirk. You know where he stands. His kid is trans after all, and I often try to say, look, I'm not going to attack people's children in politics. We want to leave them out of it. But it really shows you where he stands. People distance themselves when they don't want people coming after them, especially the wackos that they've let out of the asylum. But the government is funding this stuff, just like they fund the propaganda arm in our country. It's absolutely disgusting. So they won't be going to the United States. Maybe somebody should ban Mark Carney and all the Liberal Party from entering the United States since they're funding this stuff. Another person not entering the United States, well, the person who made the threat against Danielle Smith. What's really funny is Keean Bexte, again, if you're watching in America, very well-known Canadian journalist. Hi, Edmonton Police, you know that we can all see when you untag yourself from a tweet that calls for the assassination of Premier Danielle Smith. Like down here, we showed this yesterday where it said, hats off to this Tin Man for Charlie Kirk. And then next, Miss Smith next, please. And thank you. They have all of their information posted over here in their Facebook posts. So we know who they are. You've got their face, you've got their profiles, their Instagrams, their everything else. They're well known in Edmonton on the trans scene. This Eldine Belmont and the Edmonton police untagged themselves from the tweet, which tells you they don't care. They're not going to do anything about it. This is why things that happened to Charlie Kirk occur in our society. Because even though our law enforcement knows it's going to happen, even though our leaders are aware of the division that they sow and the rhetoric that they spew, they really don't care if we suffer the consequences for them allowing absolute nut jobs to control our society. Joe Rogan said it best when he found out the news about Charlie Kirk. And again, I didn't show the clip because I don't want to take away from how powerful it was. But he quoted in there that, like, my God, this world is so divided. He went on to talk about how people are going to enjoy what happened to Charlie. And that while he didn't know Charlie personally, he met him once at a gun range of all places. His actual empathy was out to the division that is sowed within our country right now, within the world, that our leaders, the propagandists, they have trained the brains of those on the left, of those on the right, to hate one another, the us versus them mentality. Charlie Kirk, as Benny Johnson explained, doesn't have a hated bone in his body. He doesn't peddle any kind of hatred towards people. He was a debater. He wanted to talk to people and hear people's points of views, give his point of view, and agree to disagree. The problem and the reason you're seeing behavior like this in our society, the reason you're seeing these wacko, trans, unhinged attackers thinking they can behave any way they like, is because society has allowed them to, in order to sow division, to propagate better votes for parties. It's all a distraction so that you're not watching the real show that's going on in the background while your politicians lie and steal from you. The reason I think the death of Charlie Kirk is weighing so heavy on so many is because of the symbolism that comes behind of it, that our world is not what it used to be. It's not headed in a good direction. And the time for change is upon us. And really, folks, I'm not sure what kind of change that's going to be, whether it's good or bad, or if things are going to get worse before they get better. Again, I cannot promote any kind of violence or violent activity on this channel, but people are mad. The question now is, where do the cards land when the house crumbles? I guess we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If it's your first time here, again, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Again, I apologize that these videos are a little long these days. There's a lot of information to get out. There's a lot of things circulating. If you want me to stick with this stuff for a while, if you want me to keep updating people as to the things we find, the clips we're finding, let me know in the comments down below. I don't want to keep glorifying what happened or expressing what happened, because people do at some point want to hear about other things, and I'll do my best to balance that out. But hit the subscribe button, leave a thumbs up again and a comment down below. It's going to help this video, especially after yesterday's takedown. Definitely helps the channel out. Join me live tonight and every Wednesday and Friday night for our 2 weekly live shows, Unhinged Fringe on Wednesdays, Friday Night Fringe on Fridays, as we talk about everything that happened this week in politics, everything we know coming up in the week ahead, as well as I'm joined by the beautiful Mrs. Fringe on Fridays, talking to the greatest YouTube community on the platform. I enjoy hearing what you guys have to say outside of these videos each and every week. I most importantly look forward to hearing what you have to say tonight and every Wednesday and Friday night, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.